Hi, everybody. Thanks for tuning in. This is just a short demo of something I'm working on. Basically, I'm trying to improve the user interface where I can compare texts, correct erroneous transcriptions, and then if there are genuine variants, mark those variants as I go in the kind of most efficient and seamless way possible. So I'm just going to work on translating a couple of sentences here. And as I do that, I'm going to be looking to see if what kind of variants there are and whether those variants come from transcription errors or if they're genuine variants in the text. And if they are, then maybe we'll make a comment that functions kind of like an apparatus criticus entry. So on the right, I have the XML file where I'm going to make my translation, but in the center is the critical text. And as you move around, you can focus on different texts and it'll show you information related to what you're focused on. So even down to the word level. So if I focus on a word like that, but we're going to focus just on paragraph 17 and you can get information about it. You can look at the XML underneath, but what we're looking at here is the text comparison window. And immediately it's going to show you any witnesses or related texts to this paragraph. And in this case, we have the target text here, which we're focused on, and you can immediately see, all of its witnesses and where they vary to some degree. But we also have earlier redactions of this paragraph, and if we want to see, and those have their own witnesses, and we can see those as well. In this particular case, we're most interested in a kind of collation table that compares things side by side. So I'm going to click on this and we can see that constructed at the bottom. And what I've added here as well is that in the critical text, it's going to highlight the places of variation. It's doing that automatically. So that hasn't been manually created or marked anywhere. It's recognizing the variance in red down below, and then it's highlighted the particular word in question. And we also have the ability to curate our witnesses. So what I'm really interested in here is the critical text against the core three manuscripts, because the Vatican manuscript here tends to vary quite dramatically. And sometimes I want to see it, but other times I don't. So I can hide it like that and then just really zero in on the manuscripts of interest. And we can see pretty clearly there's one variant that I need to look at. But it's probably a transcription error. And so one thing the collation table does is help us improve our transcriptions very quickly. This seems obviously a transcription error, but what if it wasn't? How we would need some way to facilitate to check, well, what does the manuscript say? And that could be a lengthy process, pulling up the manuscript, finding the right page, finding where this word is. But in this tool, all that lookup work can be done by the computer. So if we click on this, we can immediately get to the line where this word is, right? And we can see it here. And if we wanted to see it in the other manuscripts, we could see it here and see it here, like though. So obviously that's just a transcription error. Now, again, we have the same kind of problem. If I want to fix that error, I got to find the file, open the file, find this word. That's a laborious lookup task as well. But once again, we can try to let the computer do that for us. So here we click edit, it takes us to the line where that transcription is in the file that corresponds to that manuscript. We can make that fix, commit those changes, and that submits a pull request, and that will be reviewed by the reviewers and then immediately, very quickly accepted. So I'm the reviewers in this case, so I just got it accepted. And we can give that a few seconds, and that should refresh within 30 seconds. That'll be refreshed, and we can come back to this in a second. So while we wait for that, let's just adjust this transcription really quick. And maybe we want to bring the Vatican back in here so we can see if there's anything else of interest. We can see small variations here, but not necessarily we want to make any changes about. So we'll call this another proposition, colon, the divine essence, and any and all of the persons at the same time, just as they are of a single unique single grade of perfection, so they are adequately is an odd word. So they are the same eternity. Let's double check adequately, but seems to be everywhere. Okay, this is a good chance where we can actually bring in an earlier redaction, like a reportatio, and maybe it has another word to help us here. So we brought in two more manuscripts, and they pretty closely align, but not really. And there's one more redaction here we could bring in. So we can bring this down. We could add this one as well. And okay, so this one doesn't even have adequately, but so it's not that much help, not that helpful. So we'll just get rid of these again. We hide them, bring them back if we want. And we'll just say something like, so they are appropriately, so it is, so they are, let's see, leave that word out for now. Okay, so that's pretty nice. And then as we move, let's move forward to the next paragraph. We can see these variants added. Let's just check back to see that our variant has changed, has updated. And we can see that variant's gone because that was just a transcription error and there are no variants in this paragraph. So that's a pretty quick update. Okay, here's a good example why sometimes we want to remove a particular witness from a view. It varies so much that it makes it look like the whole paragraph has variance. But if we remove that, we can see it's what we need to focus on is much more isolated. So most of this game and most of this is the same, but here we see this issue persona in. So is personam a variant? Could be, and then we might want to make a comment about it. But let's take a look at that. Okay. That definitely looks like personam. So maybe all these other ones are transcription errors. So let's take a look at those. Persona in up. That's pretty clearly persona in. That's pretty clearly persona in as well. Maybe we can bring back the Vatican, even though it varies highly. Maybe we can see support for that. Not a lot of help here because it doesn't really have that parallel. Maybe we can bring in the redaction, see how closely that follows. Don't think we're getting any help here. We've lost our spot. Should have persona in. Yeah, we don't really have that in. So we have to make a decision just with the ones we have. Here's what I think is happening. I think the sense is pretty clear, and thus the person in the personal being makes the most sense. And then we can see that, likely this is a scribe confusion where they see the in as an M, and so they create this personam here. So in this case, we're not going to make a fix, but this is a good chance to show how we can then add a kind of critical apparatus entry as a kind of comment or annotation. So here I'll annotate on this. Let's bring this up a little bit. Simply by clicking the comment, I'll hide the image, okay? Persona in seems like the best reading. And my interpretation of the variant personam in manuscript in S is that S has mistakenly read in as an M and created incorrect word persona. Okay, and then we can add this to a list. In this case, the list I'm going to do is the L58 apparatus, and I'll submit that. And now that note becomes a kind of commentary or an expanded apparatus criticus entry. So I close that. And let me, if we refresh this page, we can even see that now once that comment's made, we get alerted to that as a reader here immediately like this, and we can just highlight that. We want to see what that comment is, right? So without any additional markup or any entries, we get this nice connected view. So let's come back to our collation table, see if there's any more we need to correct. We're going to hide V again. All right, and we've got a couple more entries here. In personal being is formally eternity, and all three, all right, so all three are measured. The ablative makes a bit more sense here, so let's check that. Looks like there might have been a M line there, but it also looks sort of like it's erased. Here we can have a pretty clear eternitate, so this suggesting this is a real transcription error. Here we can look at eternitatem. So here we have a clear eternitatem. So, and this almost looks like a correction from eternitatem. So this is a lot going on here. Maybe we can bring in the Vatican again, see if it helps us. Certainly not parallel, but look at, we can see nothing is measured by eternity. So that's closer to what we're looking at here. And maybe we can add our first redaction, see if we get any help here. No real help here. Measured by eternity, right? So, and then we might want to look at these too, see if we get any. Right? So I think it's pretty clear that the ablative instance is the better one, and we have quite a bit to fix. We have erroneous transcriptions, and then we also probably want to make a comment. Right, so this one we think is correct. This one we think is transcribed incorrectly, so very quickly we can get there. Here's the line where we're at, and we can simply fix that. We can close that. Now, so that's fixed. This one we're not going to fix, right? Because it clearly has eternitatem there. But the critical text needs to be adjusted. Because we're gonna select this as our correct reading. All three are measured by eternity. Okay. Close that. All right, and now we might even want to leave comments as an annotation. While SV clearly has eternitatem, sense seems to demand the ablative, as in measured by eternity. This seems supported by all other manuscripts. Only R shows, this was the one where it's looks sort of erased, shows some ambiguity. It R potentially had a line over the E to suggest an M, but then this seemed erased. Note this could also suggests the relationship between R and SV, where R copied mistake of SV, but then later recognized mistake and removed it. All right, and I'm going to add that to my L58 apparatus. So I select the tag and I'll submit that. And I should have that below. And so I have both of the comments for this this particular paragraph here. Okay. And if I want just the comment for just this variant, then I can focus in on that. And now I just have, oh, that didn't quite work. I'll still work on that. Let's refresh this again. I'm going to work on improving that refresh, but it's pretty quick. So I have my two comments now. They're showing up here. If I focus just on this word, and I want to look at comments for this, should be seen. I guess the focus filters right now is just on the paragraph. So, but we potentially could filter these comments. You can see that I'm focused just on word 51. So if I wanted, we could filter comments down to that word level, and then you just see those comments. All right, so let's just finish up this paragraph, come back down to, again, remove that again. And we haven't seen that update yet. Should see that Eternitate update. Well, that's coming. This one's correct. This one's already updated. We've got a couple more issues here. Let's just finish this last one. Clearly, when I was transcribing this one, it was probably early on. I didn't know what this was, so it was kind of ambiguous, but became pretty clear as I transcribed the others, suppositum. I wasn't sure there. And then we had this messiness here, consequentir. We had some sort of correction. So probably the best reading here is that this is a deletion, and what we have is just suppositum. So we can fix these easily. Now we know this is we know this should probably just be suppositum. So that's an easy fix. Nice. I can't really emphasize enough the speed of lookup, how much an impact that makes when we're having to find the source files and things like that. It really slows things down, but the ability to come directly where we need to come is a big gain. So we're going to leave a comment here that says possible correction, but the reading definitely is suppositum there. Okay. And then this is the one we just corrected. This one was correct. And then we want to correct the critical text. Unclear, I didn't know what it was. Now it's pretty clear by seeing all of them. All right, so I think that's a good place to stop. I just wanted to give you a demo of, how these tools can assist us in creating, fixing transcriptions, creating a more informative critical apparatus, apparatus criticus, and providing, a really informative scan of the text, but in the most efficient way possible, right? So in a way that I didn't have to come mark every single place that there's a variant, but we can let the computer do that once we've prepped the data in the right way, right? So I'll stop there, stop recording.